Welcome to Talk Travel with Heather Tate, North Mississippi's podcast for savvy travelers. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is a weekly podcast that airs every Monday on the Shark 102.3 FM radio station based in Ripley, Mississippi, and is then released as a podcast. Travel advisor and travel enthusiast Heather Tate of Whimsical Destinations gives listeners expert travel tips curated through the years of personal and professional experience. By clicking subscribe, you'll have a new travel tip to add to your collection delivered to your podcast library every Monday. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is brought to you by Sun Bear Studio. Sun Bear Studio is a boutique recording studio in the heart of Ripley, Mississippi. When you record with us at Sun Bear Studio, we can mix, master, register, and publish your music, your podcast, or your family story. Email us when you're ready at sunbear@jc.media.
This program was recorded at Sun Bear Studio in Ripley, Mississippi.
Good morning, Northeast Mississippi travelers. This is Heather with Talk Travel with Heather Tate, and I am so excited to share my adventures and tried and true tips with you. Whether you are also a seasoned traveler, a hopeful traveler, or currently an armchair traveler, meaning you're going to follow along with us from home for now. This is our 191st episode of Talk Travel with Heather Tate, and this week, I'm taking you back to Grenada. No, I don't mean Grenada, Mississippi. I mean Grenada, the Spice Island in the Caribbean. And we're going to talk about chocolate, monkeys, and waterfalls. So this was our third cruise stop. And in this case, I would say third time's a charm. Because of our first two cruise stops, not counting Puerto Rico, where we started on our cruise a few months ago, our first two islands, which would have been Tortola in the British Virgin Islands and Antigua, which I just talked about a few weeks ago, those excursions didn't go as planned. Now, did we still have an amazing time? Oh, we sure did. We had great days. But I was starting to really question my ability at that point to plan a premeditated cruise stop all on my own. But Grenada restored my faith. And this is what we did. I had known that I wanted to do some private tours while we were on our cruise. And sometimes you just kind of go with the flow. Sometimes you do a cruise excursion. Well, we had been to Grenada before. When I say we, my husband and I had been to Sandals, Grenada, which is located only 5 minutes away from the airport. So if you don't like a long drive to your resort, Grenada is perfect. The island itself is beautiful. It's only 21 miles long and 12 miles wide, making it one of the smallest Caribbean islands. But sometimes big things come in small packages, and that is what I feel like the island of Grenada is. It is also known as the Spice Island. There's a population of only around 125,000. It's an extremely friendly island. I find the people there to be warm and welcoming, love visitors. And when I say the food there is incredible, well, you'll see for yourself when you go, because it's not called the Spice Island for nothing, right? It's not. They have nutmeg, ice cream, nutmeg everything, cinnamon, all different kinds of flavors that are grown there on the island, the spices there that are incorporated in their food. And it's just a burst of flavor anytime you try something. So I was really excited to go here with my boys, and I knew I wanted a private tour, and I wanted it to be with someone who was from the island. And we ended up having, probably we would say, all four of us would say, it's the best excursion, best private tour we've ever had. So we were with our new friend, Norland, who is with Fun Grenada Tours and Taxi. It's his company. He started a few years ago. He has always lived on the island, and he knows Grenada, like the back of his hand. And so he took us not only to the big spots that we wanted to go to, right? Like your things, you're like, I need to check this off my list. And we couldn't even get to everything in a day, even though we packed in so much. But he also took us to some things that we didn't even know we wanted to go to, because we gave him free reign. And we were like, we want to go and see your Grenada. We want to, eat where you would eat. We want to see some local places. And that's exactly what we did. And when I say we had the most fantastic time, we did. So I reached out to Norland, who has been a guide for my guests who have been to Grenada before. And he picked us up at the cruise port, was waiting for us when we arrived. And we got in his car, and I had a few things that I really wanted to do. I told you before that Christian is very interested in chocolate. So number one on my list was to go to a tree to bar, like chocolate bar farm. And there's several here in Grenada. So we wanted to go to Belmont Estate because I had been there before. And I knew that would be a great place where the boys would get to see a lot of the fruits and vegetables that are grown on the island, and that they would also get to see how chocolate is both grown and the whole process from bean to turning it into the chocolate we know and love. And actually, I didn't know this until more research, that all three types of cocoa beans are grown in Grenada. So I think that's fascinating. So we went to Belmont Estate. Our main purpose was to, see the chocolate and see the chocolate beans, get to touch them, see how they grow on the trees and the cacao. And I was really excited about all of that. But we also learned some things I didn't know. So we found out while there that the national dish is called oil down. And they say it very quickly together, so I had to look it up that it's two separate words, OIL, oil down. Now, this is kind of like their stew, and there's no set recipe. It can have different kinds of meat or fish, and it is cooked down kind of like maybe like a curry. It's creamy, it's hearty, and it's cooked down in coconut milk. And so it's always served homemade and fresh. Like I said, they don't need a recipe. And so every time it's going to be a little bit different. But it's supposed to be like that is what you're supposed to eat when you go to Grenada. We didn't eat it this time. So that's on my list for the next time I go. Every time I go back to one of my islands in the Caribbean that I just love, I find another reason to go back because there's more on my list I haven't done, even after now being there twice. So Christian was so interested, took a lot of videos of the whole process from growing the beans to processing them to turning them into chocolate bars. We got to drink chocolate tea, which is not the same as hot chocolate. It is way better. And I love hot chocolate, so it was great to get to try that. We got to try some different samples of the chocolate, and Christian's taking videos and notes the whole time. If you want to check some of these out, we have them on our Facebook group, Heather and Logan Tate Whimsical Destinations. I'll share some of those again. And so we spent a lot of time just touring the estate. Now, we could have eaten lunch there, but this is where I found our day started to become even more than I thought it was going to be. We let Norland pick. We're like, well, we could eat here, or we could go where you like to go for lunch. And he's like, if you trust me, I'll take you where I like to go for lunch in my town. We'll go there. And we're like, sure, we'll go there. It was amazing. Like we went, it's kind of cafeteria style. Think of it, if you've ever eaten at Dunkin's in Guntown, it was like the grenadine version of, version of Dunkin's, like being in Grenada instead of Guntown and having there where you could choose your meat and 3 or meat and 4, your sides, your mains. It was fantastic. The 5 of us ate for $40, including drinks, because we were like, if you are going to take us to your favorite place, we'd like to treat you, not knowing what the food was going to cost. We paid a fraction of what we would have paid if we had gone to the more popular tourist location. And while we were sitting there, eating the delicious food, looking out the windows, seeing the water, Norland pointed out his favorite fishing spot. So it was a really cool experience. The boys absolutely loved lunch, but it felt like in just a short period of time, we weren't just, guests on a private tour. Like we felt like we were getting an inside look at Norland's day-to-day life. And we found out that we also shared a love for similar music. And so we were listening to different music along the way. And Norland was like, okay, Logan, what do you like to listen to? And Logan's like, I like a little bit of everything. And Logan is very eclectic in his music type. Well, it turns out that Norland shared some of our love for 80s and 90s and early 2000s, but mainly 80s and 90s music. And so we listened to everything from Celine Dion, Savage Garden, New Kids on the Block. I mean everything. Backstreet Boys, and we weren't just listening. We had the windows down, and we were blaring the music as we were going through the rainforest, which we also went to because we went to the Grand Tetang National Park. Because the next thing on my list was to see the monkeys, the Mona monkeys. So these are wild monkeys that live in the national park. And so we went to go see them. And not only did we get to see them, take pictures, but they also jumped on our heads and climbed on us and jumped from London to Christian to Logan to on top of my head. So it was a lot of fun. And from there, we went to Crater Lake, which is also located in the national park. We didn't have to do any hiking. We drove right down to it. The lake is beautifully clear. They say it's bottomless, even though we know it is not, but that's what legend says. And so we got to have these beautiful experiences on the island combined with these fun, memorable moments that we didn't expect. And it made for the perfect day. As we're driving along, Norland knows everybody. Everybody's either his cousin or his nephew, and he's beeping and waving at people because they're his friends and family. And he asked if we wanted some fresh coconut water. And at first I was like, I am so full from our lunch, which when I say this lunch was amazing, some of the best food. I'm dreaming about it right now. When he asked if we wanted coconut water, I was like, I couldn't possibly. I'm full. He's like, okay, no problem, because he had started to slow down at a roadside stand. And he's like, that was my nephew. And I was like, all right, Norland, put it in reverse. Let's go back. We're going to get a fresh coconut. So he did just that. We got a fresh coconut. It's $2. A fresh coconut that we had coconut water that the four of us shared back and forth. And so, again, these are all these little experiences that we had from singing karaoke in the car, drinking the coconut water on the side of the road. And then Norland was listening to us talk about what we liked and what we were interested in. London sharing everything he knows about the planes and the logistics of air travel and transportation in Grenada. And so Norland picked up pretty quickly that London is our aviation fanatic. And so he took us to an old airfield. I didn't even know that was going to be there. It's where they sometimes do car racing and locals go, and there's a park, and there's old planes that are just where they were, that have rusted over, that are from decades and decades ago. And you can go and take a lunch, sit at a picnic table surrounded by old planes in this old airfield. And that's what we did, because he heard that, okay, we're doing things that Christian likes to do, the chocolate. We're going to go see the monkeys. So he wanted to make sure that London also got something he was particularly interested in. So I think those are the type of things just that was just the extra care in our tour that was catered towards us. Other things, one more thing we did. I'll share that in a moment. Other things I want to do that we didn't get to is I want to go river tubing. And I want to go to the Underwater Sculpture Park, which is the world's first underwater sculpture park. And that's there in Grenada. You can go snorkeling. If you're a scuba diver, you can go there. You can do boat tours and see it. So that's on my list for next time. I also want to go to another rum distillery. There's only so much time in the day, because the last thing on my list to see was I wanted to go to a waterfall. I wanted the boys to experience one. And so we went to Annandale Waterfall. Beautiful. There was a little restaurant bar right on the water's edge. Locals come there. We're jumping off the rocks into the water to have a refreshing swim. You could go behind the falls, take pictures right in front of the falls. So we didn't swim on this trip on this particular day, because I wanted to see more of the island. So we did a little bit of walking, a lot of exploring. And we didn't get wet, but we still got pictures with waterfall. So the next time I go, and I plan on staying longer, that's when we'll do some of the more water activities like the river tubing and going to see the Underwater Sculpture Park. But there's only much time you could do in a day. But if I do say so myself, we had the most perfect day that you could have on the beautiful Spice Island of Grenada. And we combined everything that we had in our interest. We did so much more with a private tour than we ever could have done if we had done a group tour, right? And it wouldn't have had the spontaneity that we had by doing a private tour. So I encourage you, if you're going, especially to a smaller island like Grenada, where you really can see a lot of the island in a day, not all of the island by any means. We have a lot more still to see, but you could see a lot. That a private tour is one of the best ways to be able to do that. That is all the time we have for this week's episode of Talk Travel with Heather Tate. Life is a great adventure. Take the trip. Make those memories. You won't regret it.
This show is made possible by JC Media, LLC in Ripley, Mississippi. JC Media owns the Shark 102.3 Classic Rock FM radio station where the show is hosted, and Sun Bear Recording Studio where the interviews are recorded. We need your feedback and support. If you listen to the podcast on a player like iTunes, Google Podcasts, or Amazon Music, please subscribe to the show and leave us a review. We also have an email in which you can share your feedback. That email is theshark1023@gmail.com. Subscribe to our podcast on your favorite app or stream episodes online at shark1023.com/podcasts. Today's episode was produced by Melinda Marsalis. It was edited by Rick Williams and engineered by Chris Marsalis. The podcast technician is Joyce Grady.